Meet the magic button. In PeopleTools 8.63, customers can add a clear, one-click action button next to any field on a Fluid page, including long edit boxes. The button appears directly where users work, as if it were part of the page, without customizing the associated page at design time. Here, the user sees a configured action button seamlessly placed next to the designated field. The button can launch the action the customer chooses, such as a productivity shortcut, a business rule, a REST API call, or an AI-powered assist. In this demo, the action returns placeholder text to show where a result or response can appear. In a real use case, customers configure people code behind the button to run the action they need. Now let's look briefly at how this is configured. Magic Button is an enhancement to the Related Actions framework. Instead of requiring a page customization, administrators can configure a field-level action and display it as a standalone button with its own icon and hover text. The button is connected to an application class-based related content service. That service runs the configured people code for the action, and the people code can include business logic, integration logic, REST API calls, or calls to AI services. Using Related Actions configuration, administrators associate the service with the target field on the Fluid page. They can choose the Magic Button display option, define the label users see on hover, and select the icon that best represents the action. The result is a configurable, field-level action that feels native to the PeopleSoft page. Customers can use it to bring contextual actions, including AI-powered actions, directly into the user experience while avoiding design time customizations to the associated Fluid page. PeopleTools 8.63 introduces App Designer AI Assist, bringing AI assistance directly into the PeopleSoft developer workspace. Developers can use AI Assist to ask questions, explain code, suggest improvements, troubleshoot issues, generate code, and create documentation-style summaries without leaving Application Designer. AI Assist works with the objects in the current Application Designer project, and developers can also upload supporting files for additional context. That context helps the integrated AI coding assistant respond to questions that are specific to the project and the development task at hand. For example, a developer can ask AI Assist to explain code to the current project. Instead of switching tools or manually tracing through the logic, the developer can ask the question directly in App Designer. AI Assist streams the response back in the same window, making it easy for the developer to review the explanation alongside the project context. Developers can also use AI Assist for iterative development tasks. Here, the developer asks AI Assist to move the logic in line, so the generated response can help with refactoring or restructuring code based on the developer's instructions. In this release, Object Update support is available for people code only. AI Assist can provide a proposed code update that the developer can review. This keeps the developer in control while helping accelerate common coding and maintenance tasks. Next, the developer asks AI Assist to add comments to the code. This is a simple example of how AI Assist can help make code easier to read, review, and maintain. The response includes suggested comments in the requested format, giving the developer a faster starting point for improving code readability and documentation. PeopleTools also provides MCP support for PeopleSoft metadata or managed objects. This enables AI-powered integrated development environments, or IDEs, to connect to PeopleSoft metadata such as records, pages, components, and people code in a format that can be used as development context. As an example of how the delivered MCP tools can be used, Customers may connect AI-powered IDEs to PeopleSoft metadata. This can expand developer access to PeopleTools metadata beyond Application Designer and support additional coding assistance scenarios. Through an AI-powered IDE, developers can ask questions about PeopleSoft metadata using natural language and receive responses in the same chat experience. This gives developers another way to explore PeopleSoft metadata and understand application objects beyond Application Designer. PeopleSoft delivers the Natural Language Search Service, or NL Search Service, as a REST API through the Application Services Framework. It helps convert natural language questions into PeopleSoft search queries, run those queries, and return secured PeopleSoft search results. Customers can use the service as a building block for AI-powered experiences that need highly performant and secure data retrieval from PeopleSoft Search, while leveraging a large language model, or LLM, that supports their implementation. The NL Search Service acts as a bridge between a natural language request, a customer's chosen LLM, and the PeopleSoft search instance. PeopleSoft applications already deliver search definitions for a broad set of business objects, and customers can create their own search definitions where needed. Using prompt context and search index metadata, the LLM helps dynamically map the user's question to the right intent, generate an open search query, and return secured PeopleSoft search results with the appropriate user context. This gives customers a practical foundation for read-only inquiry scenarios. Delivered through the Application Services Framework, the NL Search Service is exposed as an open API-based REST service that is easy to manage and consume. It accepts a natural language question, processes it through the NL search logic, and returns output that can be used by chat experiences, AI agents, or other integration scenarios. For inquiry use cases, this gives customers a performant way to retrieve PeopleSoft data through the search layer rather than sending every request through transactional processing. Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is an open standard that gives AI agents a consistent way to work with external systems, tools, and data. In PeopleTools 8.63, PeopleSoft provides MCP server support, so AI agents and AI-powered applications can use MCP tools to interact with PeopleSoft through delivered and customer-defined APIs. These APIs can represent PeopleSoft business objects, business logic, services, and search capabilities, giving customers a standards-based way to expose PeopleSoft functionality to AI-driven experiences. For example, an AI agent can invoke an MCP tool that calls a PeopleSoft API built with the Application Services Framework. That API can apply the business logic and security already defined in PeopleSoft and return the appropriate response to the AI-driven experience. Customers can also expose services such as the Natural Language Search Service as MCP tools, depending on the use case they're building. The MCP server is a deployable component that customers configure for their PeopleSoft environment. In the MCP server configuration, administrators define the tools that should be available to AI agents, AI-powered applications, or other MCP-enabled integrations. These tools can point to PeopleSoft APIs, services, or search capabilities that the customer chooses to expose. This configuration helps control which PeopleSoft capabilities are available through the MCP server. PeopleTools delivers a chat UI, an extensible user interface component that customers can use as a starting point for creating their own AI-powered chat experiences in PeopleSoft. Instead of developing a chat user interface from scratch, Customers can start with the delivered chat UI, embed it in their PeopleSoft applications, and build their integration to the AI agent platform that supports their implementation. This helps customers provide a familiar chat-based experience inside PeopleSoft while giving them flexibility in how they design and power the intelligence behind the conversation. PeopleTools also provides the ability to enable the Chat UI widget globally within PeopleSoft. This means the embedded chat experience can be made available through delivered PeopleTools configuration rather than requiring each customer to design and place their own chat entry point across the application. The Chat UI is turned off by default. Administrators can enable or disable it using a system-level setting on the PeopleTools Feature Options page. Together with other PeopleTools integration components, such as the NL Search Service and MCP Server, the Chat UI gives customers building blocks they can use to assemble their own embedded natural language assistant experience in PeopleSoft. This completes the feature descriptions for enabling AI integration. The Quick Access Bar, or QAB, gives users fast access to common actions such as recently visited, favorites, and accessibility. In PeopleTools 8.63, administrators get more control over which QAB buttons appear. That means customers can simplify the bar, reduce visual clutter, and tailor the experience through configuration instead of custom people code or CSS. In this example, the modified QAB displays only favorites and accessibility. Administrators manage this behavior using PeopleTools system personalization options. Separate settings control whether recently visited, favorites, and accessibility appear in the Quick Access Bar. The main Enable QAB setting still takes precedence. So if QAB is turned off, these individual button settings don't apply. These options only control the QAB display. Recently visited and favorites remain available from the nav bar. Landing pages are designed to bring relevant content together in one place, so you don't have to choose between multiple home pages to find what you need. But when more content is brought together on one landing page, some sections may need to be shown only to specific users. In this example, Mr. Smith is a manager. Because he has access to the underlying My Job Openings tile, the recruiting section appears on his landing page. But he's not a recruiter, so this section may not be relevant for him. With section security applied to the recruiting section, the same landing page now gives Mr. Smith a cleaner, more focused view. The recruiting section is hidden, while the rest of the landing page remains available based on his access. Administrators can now define security directly at the section level. In Section Setup, they can choose whether the section inherits the landing page security, or they can restrict the section using roles or permission lists. In this example, the administrator can secure the recruiting section for recruiters. This is especially useful when landing pages bring together content for different audiences, or when the same tile is reused in more than one section. Administrators can now optionally control section visibility independently from the tiles inside the section. That means tiles can still be reused where they make sense, while each user sees a landing page that is cleaner, more relevant, and better aligned to their work. In PeopleTools 8.63, cluster support is extended to fluid dashboards. This allows dashboard content from multiple PeopleSoft applications to be brought together into a single unified experience. This is especially useful with landing pages, where you can start from one main page and drill into dashboards that bring relevant content together across the cluster. In this example, HRMS is the portal system and ELM is the remote application. With cluster support, ELM tiles such as learning objectives and learning plans can appear alongside HRMS dashboard content, giving you a more complete career experience without requiring you to navigate separately across applications. To enable this functionality, the dashboards must use the same label, must have end-user personalizations disabled, and must have the cref attribute cluster_aware set to true. Once configured, PeopleTools can identify matching dashboard content across the cluster and merge it for you. This completes the descriptions for usability improvements. PeopleTools 8.63 introduces semantic search in PeopleSoft. Instead of relying only on exact keyword matches, you can search using natural words or phrases and find results that are related in meaning. You'll discover the right information even when you don't know the exact title, keyword, or terminology to search for. For example, when you search for Update My Bank Info, even though the result is labeled Direct Deposit, PeopleSoft recognizes the meaning of the request and returns the relevant self-service page. This shows how semantic search helps you find the right action without needing to know the exact PeopleSoft terminology. Semantic search is powered by OpenSearch and vector embeddings. During indexing, selected search fields are converted into vector representations that capture meaning. At search time, PeopleSoft can compare the meaning of your search phrase with the meaning of indexed content. Semantic search can seamlessly enhance the search experience while still including exact keyword matches when available. Administrators manage semantic search through the search framework. They can enable semantic search at the system level, select the search pipeline, and identify the embedding model used to create vector representations. PeopleTools delivers embedding models as part of the OpenSearch deployment, and customers can also import their own embedding models for advanced use cases. Semantic search is enabled by default for PeopleTools menu search, giving you a more natural way to find and navigate to pages and actions. For other search definitions, administrators can enable semantic search by selecting meaningful text-based search fields as vector fields, redeploying the search definition, and running a full index to create vector embeddings. A simple typo should not stop you from finding the search results you need. With typo tolerance in PeopleTools 8.63, PeopleSoft can recognize a misspelled search term, identify the closest matching keyword, and return relevant results instead of ending with no results. This capability applies to any configured search category, not just the navigation search delivered by PeopleTools. Here, you enter dependent with a typo. Instead of returning no results, PeopleSoft uses typo tolerance to find the closest matching keyword and display results for the corrected search term. And when semantic search is enabled, the experience gets even better by also surfacing contextually related results, such as benefits attachment, even when the exact corrected keyword does not appear in the title. The application clearly indicates that the results are based on the corrected keyword. You still remain in control and can choose Search Instead for to run the search using the original term you entered. Administrators can manage typo tolerance on the Search Options page. The feature is enabled by default and can be turned off if needed. With typo tolerance, PeopleSoft helps reduce dead-end searches and keeps you moving toward the right result. Configurable search helps you narrow large result sets by selecting facet values. In PeopleTools 8.63, search within facets makes that experience faster by letting you find the right facet value directly, instead of scrolling through long lists. Facets display a limited number of values by default, with a More option when additional values are available. For large facets, such as department, you may need to expand the list and scroll to find the value you want. With search within facets, you can type a value directly within the facet list. Matching values appear immediately, so you can select the right filter and drill into results with fewer steps. The search results are refreshed after the facet value is selected. PeopleTools 8.63 improves high availability for search indexing. In prior releases, an indexing job depended on the first node configured for the search instance. If that node was unavailable or did not respond, the job could fail even when other cluster nodes were active. With PeopleTools 8.63, when multiple nodes are configured, indexing can use the first active node in the cluster. The job fails only if all configured nodes are inactive or if the cluster itself is unavailable. This helps search indexing continue more reliably and reduces the chance of stalled indexing work. PeopleTools 8.63 gives administrators more flexibility when running large, full-index builds. Previously, index build partitioning relied on the default last updated date-time field from the search definition. Now, administrators can select eligible fields and values from the search definition, including date, date time, numeric, or other supported fields, as additional inputs for partitioned indexing runs. After selecting the field, administrators can define the field values and number of partitions. The indexing process uses those settings as part of the partitioned indexing run, helping applications process large, full indexing jobs in parallel more efficiently. PeopleTools 8.63 provides enhancements to insights in two areas. First, improve support for embedded insights in application pages. Second, dashboard deployment improvements that make it easier to move Insights dashboards across customer environments. With embedded insights, application pages can now use PeopleCode APIs to dynamically switch the embedded dashboard on load based on page context or business logic. Additionally, application pages can conditionally reload the embedded dashboard by applying relevant page-level context filters. These improvements make insights embedded in application pages more responsive, contextual, and better aligned with the user's interactions. For dashboard deployment, the new Replace Tokens feature makes Insights dashboards easier to move across customer environments. This helps customers reduce manual dashboard changes and dynamically manage environment-specific links during deployment. Insights dashboards can include links inside visualizations, such as links to PeopleSoft pages, other insights, or external resources. With Replace Tokens, those links are easier to manage when a dashboard is moved into a customer environment. Previously, customers often had to manually update deployed dashboards when link values changed across environments, such as web server host and port information. Now, those values can be replaced during dashboard deployment, reducing manual edits after deployment. For other environment-specific values, administrators can define placeholder text and matching replacement text. During deployment, PeopleSoft replaces the placeholders with the correct values, so the dashboard reflects the target environment. This completes the feature descriptions for Search and Insights. PeopleTools 8.63 adds support for two-factor authentication using time-based one-time password, or TOTP. This provides an additional layer of protection after successful primary authentication. With TOTP, you verify access with the time-limited code from a registered authenticator app. When two-factor authentication is enabled, you're prompted to enroll an authenticator device during your first sign-in. You can use a phone, tablet, or other device with a standard authenticator app that supports TOTP. To enroll the device, you enter a descriptive name, scan the QR code with the authenticator app, and enter the code generated by the app. The code is time-based and valid only for a configured period of time, so you must verify it before it expires. After enrollment, subsequent sign-ins include the second verification step. You enter the current one-time code from the authenticator app and complete the sign-in. You can manage your enrolled authenticator devices from My2FA verification. You can enroll multiple devices, such as a phone and a tablet, so you have another verification option available when needed. From the Device Action menu, you can manage each enrolled device. You can deactivate, renew, replace, or rename a device, or set a different device as the primary option. During sign-in, the primary device is selected by default. If more than one device is enrolled, you can choose another device for verification. Administrators enable TOTP by configuring and activating the security policy and TOTP configuration. They also enable the required web profile custom property so the verification flow is available in the PeopleSoft sign-in experience. Administrators can also manage TOTP keys using the Manage 2FA page. Stale key cleanup helps remove old keys that are no longer needed, and User Reset lets administrators reset verification for users who lose access to an enrolled device. In a planned PeopleTools 8.63 patch, PeopleTools will also provide an API that customers can use to invoke two-factor authentication during selected transactional events. This will allow customers to add an additional verification step for sensitive actions, such as updating direct deposit information, changing personal identification details, or other business processes that require stronger protection. PeopleSoft now supports SAML 2.0 for single sign-on directly, making it easier to integrate with identity providers that support the SAML 2.0 standard without requiring additional layers just to consume SAML. Once configured, PeopleSoft can support secure access through both identity provider-initiated and service provider-initiated sign-on flows. Security Assertion Markup Language, or SAML 2.0, is one of the most widely used standards for single sign-on across enterprise applications. For an identity provider-initiated flow, you start by signing in to an identity provider, or IDP. The IDP authenticates you and sends a SAML response to PeopleSoft, which acts as the service provider. IDP examples include Oracle Identity and Access Management, Microsoft Entra ID, Okta, and other standards-based identity systems. In this example, PeopleSoft HCM is configured as an application in the IDP. Select the PeopleSoft HCM link to begin the single sign-on flow. You're then taken directly into PeopleSoft. Behind the scenes, PeopleSoft receives the SAML response from the IDP, validates it, and establishes your user session. The result is a secure, seamless, and user-friendly sign-on experience. PeopleTools 8.63 also supports service provider-initiated SAML flows. For example, you can start from a PeopleSoft URL, a travel authorization notification, an approval email, or another deep link. If authentication is required, PeopleSoft redirects you to the IDP, and after successful sign-on, returns you to the original target page, such as the travel authorization page. Administrators use delivered PeopleSoft configuration pages to integrate PeopleSoft with the IDP. On the Identity Provider page, they can use parse metadata to populate certificates and endpoints where available, then review the signing, encryption, and metadata certificates, verify the single sign-on endpoints, and activate the configuration. PeopleSoft acts as the service provider, or SP, consuming the SAML response and establishing the user session. On the Service Provider page, administrators configure signing and encryption key pairs, maintain certificates and keys, assign the required key set ID, and define the assertion consumer service endpoint and supported name ID formats. Finally, administrators configure the trust relationship between the IDP and SP on the Provider Links page. They specify the IDP and SP, define the trust settings, and add any custom sign-on attributes. As with any SAML implementation, customers will also plan implementation-specific details, such as how sign-in page and timeout redirects should behave, how deep links are handled, and whether to support single logout. PeopleTools provides the SAML 2.0 framework and configuration pages to help customers assemble the integration for their chosen IDP. This completes the feature descriptions for security. The new customization groups help you organize your customization insights into meaningful categories. You can group customizations by ownership, business function, impact, and more. This visualization shows how ownership is distributed across the team. You can quickly see which owners are most impacted and where follow-up may be needed. Organize customizations by high-level functional areas to see which areas need the most attention during maintenance planning. Customization impact shows which customization groups have the highest projected impact and which groups may need the most rework across images. Let's look at how to create and manage a customization group. On the My Customized Objects page, you can add objects to an existing customization, create a new customization with the selected objects, and remove an object from a customization. Like every Insights dashboard, you can click on a product and find which objects are impacted. Next, you can create a new customization with these objects. On the Manage Groups page, use Group Type to define the purpose of the customization group and decide what appears on the dashboard. Group Category places the group into a broader business or application area. Add comments to provide context. You can assign the right people or roles to manage, update, and test the customization group. PeopleSoft delivers some categories and roles to start. However, you can use the Manage Group Settings page to create your own categories, roles, and group types to match how your organization assigns work. You can also view the list of records added earlier to the customization group. Enter a project name or a project naming pattern using a wildcard. The system can then use that pattern to automatically add matching customized objects to the group when those projects are moved into production or when the repository is updated. For example, if your team uses a naming convention like BEN_* for benefits-related customization projects, future benefits customization projects can automatically become part of that group. Troubleshooting PeopleSoft environments no longer means logging into multiple servers and manually reviewing scattered log files. The PeopleSoft Log Analyzer supports both centralized and distributed deployment models, automatically generates Fluent Bit and Data Prepper configuration files, and provides flexible options for security, connectivity, and log ingestion management. Log Analyzer introduces a dedicated configuration framework for defining log sources across application server, process scheduler, and web server domains. With PeopleSoft Log Analyzer, you can centralize domain logs into a single searchable experience, visualize activity through dashboards, and accelerate root cause analysis with near real-time insights. Log Analyzer delivers pre-built dashboards that provide visibility into application activity, user behavior, system performance, and operational trends. You can aggregate response times, login activity, component usage, and performance metrics, while powerful search capabilities enable rapid investigation of log data across multiple PeopleSoft tiers from a single interface. Log Analyzer introduces support for extended log correlation fields in web server logging. These enhanced fields capture additional request context, making it easier to connect related events across tiers and follow transactions as they move through your PeopleSoft environment. The result is faster troubleshooting and more effective cross-system log analysis. You can use the Discover tab in Open Search dashboards to search for terms such as error across all collected logs. Matching entries appear instantly, showing details such as server, domain, and database. When multiple servers or environments send logs to Log Analyzer, you can view and investigate related results from a single location. This release introduces PDF document comparison, expanded options for managing test results and expected outcomes, and support for field name aliases for duplicate field names. Together, these enhancements help streamline test automation, reduce manual effort, and make PTF testing easier to manage. The PDF Compare option compares a target PDF file against a base PDF file and validates whether the documents are identical or contain differences during test run. Instead of manually opening and comparing PDF files, users can define a base PDF and let PTF compare it with the target PDF generated by the test. To access this option after you start recording, right-click the PIA page, select Insert Step, and then select Compare PDF. You can capture the information needed for this comparison, including the base file path, whether the base file should be uploaded or reused, values to ignore, logging preferences, target file cleanup, and the expected comparison result. After the step is saved, PTF uses these settings during test run to compare the generated PDF with the base PDF, record the result in the test log, and clean up temporary files based on the selected options. PTF now gives you better control over test flow with the improved expected parameter. In exists and value exists actions, the new either option lets a test accept either true or false when both results are valid. PTF logs the outcome as information instead of adding extra warning flags, so test logs stay cleaner and are easier to review. PTF can now define unique field names when loading query fields. When Data Loader Query contains two fields with the same name, the Unique Field Name field makes each field unique, enabling accurate selection and variable mapping. This completes the feature descriptions for lifecycle management and operations. Want PeopleSoft notifications to show up where your team already works? With webhooks, you can send outbound messages from PeopleSoft to external systems, such as Slack or Teams, so updates are easier to spot and act on. Messaging is only one aspect of what webhooks provide. Many systems accept webhooks for integrations over REST or SOAP because they're lightweight and don't need a full response message. PeopleSoft supports outbound webhooks to make it easy to integrate or push data from events within the application to external systems. Here's an example of a PeopleSoft notification pushed to the Slack account of a user. Let's see how it works. First, create a webhook definition in Integration Broker. Then, set up the notification framework to use that webhook as a delivery channel. Together, these two steps connect PeopleSoft notifications to the external service that should receive the message. The webhook framework provides a mechanism for registering and invoking webhooks within the PeopleTools runtime environment. It also simplifies integrations with external platforms such as Slack and Microsoft Teams, which support webhook messaging as a standard integration method. As part of the webhook definition, you'll need to specify the document schema and HTTP headers if required. A document schema defines the structure of the webhook message. It describes the data that'll be sent, helping ensure that PeopleSoft and the target service share information in a consistent and predictable format. The document schema can be of different types, such as simple text, XML, JSON, etc. Headers provide key details that travel with the webhook request, such as content type, authentication information, or other request metadata. They help the receiving service understand and process the incoming message correctly. You may not require headers in some cases. Webhooks are now supported as a notification channel, so they work with the PeopleSoft notifications framework instead of being a separate one-off setup. When a PeopleSoft event needs attention, the webhook channel can help send that message out to the right external tool. This completes the description for integrations and notifications webhooks support. This release brings faster patching with the PeopleTools middleware DPK builder, enabling you to download CPUs for middleware components and apply them on your own schedule. The PeopleTools middleware DPK builder is delivered with each PeopleTools patch release. Use it to download the latest CPUs or patches for WebLogic, Tuxedo, Java, and Oracle Database Client, and build a custom DPK. This release delivers container images to deploy PeopleTools mid-tier and search components. Containers have the advantage of isolating software from the host and other containers, and managing one container doesn't affect others. They're easy to deploy and scale, and can use various runtimes. In addition, containers only run processes for the application, making them more efficient. Container images, which you download from My Oracle Support, provide everything you need to deploy a mid-tier or search environment without the need to obtain multiple DPKs or build a container. You simply modify configuration files and run a script. The mid-tier container image supports multiple roles. You can deploy application server, process scheduler, web server, app batch, or full mid-tier container. The search container images support the deployment of OpenSearch, OpenSearch dashboards, and Logstash. The search container requires the mid-tier deployment as a prerequisite. Containers also include support for Visual COBOL. PeopleSoft Update images will also be available as container images. To deploy, download the 3 files from My Oracle Support and load them into Podman. update the configuration files, and then run the podman compose command. Deploying PeopleSoft update images on containers is faster than other deployment methods and can run on Podman and Podman Desktop. This completes the feature descriptions for deployment and platforms. We've only shown you the highlights of this PeopleTools release. For more information about these features and the other enhancements, see the CFO tool, the Update Image Overview on My Oracle Support, and go to the PeopleSoft Information Portal for updates.